Urza, Lord High Artificer versus Horde of Notions. And partner commanders, Reyhan, last of the Abzan. And Thrasios, Triton hero. And last but not least, the Mimeoplasm. Now, are we going to draw into another land? We'll get a couple of draws, and that can get us into Sapphire Medallion. I'm going to risk keeping that. Urza, Lord High Artificer, is a mono-blue commander, 4 mana for a 1/4. It enters with a 0/0 construct creature token that gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. You can tap any untapped artifact for a blue mana. Summoning Sickness is irrelevant with that, by the way. And for 5 generic mana, shuffle your library, exile the top card, and you can play it without paying its mana cost. Everyone's just getting down turn 1 lands by the looks of it. The Mimeoplasm is a Sultai commander, 5 mana for a 0/0. When it enters, you can exile 2 creatures from graveyards. If you do, it enters as a copy of one of them and gets plus counters equal to the CMC of the other. I don't think we're going to counter anybody's stuff with Swan Song, so we'll just tap and pass over. Went on a buying spree the other day and got all the snow-covered lands from Modern Horizons. The only reason I have never played them is because they weren't full art, and I do like my full art lands. But the old Cold Snap snow-covered islands were worth quite a bit of money. I don't know if they'd spiked, but they were worth quite a bit of money, so I could sell all of my copies of that to fund all of my full art snow-covered lands. So that was pretty good going for me. Still just getting into lands. Everyone's just slow rolling things out, which is fine with us because we really need to get into a land here. Alright, well, a Ponder should help us on that front. Okay, a Mana Crypt and Blast Zone can get us into the Sapphire Medallion. Let's go Gilded Drake. Yeah, then Blast Zone, then Mana Crypt. We'll say no there. We want to get into that Mana Crypt so we can get the Sapphire Medallion down. And we'll pass over like that. Reyhan, last of the Abzan, is 3 mana in Golgari for a 0/0, but it enters with 3 plus counters on it. Whenever a creature you control dies or is put into the command zone, if it had 1 or more plus counters on it, you may put that many plus counters on a target creature. And then Thrasios, Triton hero, is 2 mana in Simic for a 1/3. For 4 generic mana, you can scry 1, reveal the top card, and if it's a land, put it into play tapped. Otherwise, draw it. And getting into a Chasm Skulker. Yeah, that will go crazy over the course of the game if it's left to its own devices. Every time our opponent draws a card, put a plus counter on it. And no doubt, Reyhan has some plus counter shenanigans to dump a lot of plus counters onto this. Horde of Notions just making their way up to Wooburg. That's a 5 mana 5/5 in Wooburg. It's an elemental, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. And then for Wooburg you can play an elemental from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And we do get into that land which we knew we were going to get into. So we just play the Blast Zone and then... what can we do? I mean, do we play the Howling Mine here to make sure that we get into another land? What have we got on top? I forget what we put on top now. Well, one of the cards on top is not a blue land anyway, so... beginning of next turn's upkeep. Yeah, I say we just get down the Urza's Bauble and crack it as well, because we're struggling on blue mana here. We looked at a card at random. Our opponent does have a Strip Mine. That's worth knowing because we have a basic island in play and they can blow that up with Strip Mine. Let's see what card we put on top with that Ponder because I forget now. Ah, a Gilded Drake, yes. That is... well, it's worth having, but we really, really want to get into more blue mana here. This is the typical Urza stax build in which we want to keep our opponents from doing anything. The reason Howling Mine is in here is because we can tap it down with our commander. And that means that our opponents won't draw additional cards from it, but we will. And that makes the Chasm Skulker bigger, so if that becomes too much of a problem, we can get Gilded Drake on the go there. Now, where is that going? Oh, that's going at our land. Let's just let that go. Contemplating whether or not to Cyclonic Rift there, but at least they didn't go after our blue land. And there's Reyhan, and choosing not to swing in, which is odd. You would think they would swing in at one of the two open players. But yeah, like I was saying, this is typical stacks where we want to use things like Winter Orb to keep our opponent's stuff tapped down. There's Back to Basics as well. We just want to give our opponents a hard time in this deck. It's not my idea of fun, but I assume that this is the version of Urza that people are so excited about. I would actually quite like to make some kind of Thopter version of him. So I might just make both and see which is more popular. Alright, there's that blue source. So I say we just get our commander down now. And Urza will come in with a construct, a 5/5, equal to the number of artifacts we control. This land is an artifact, so it does count towards that. And now we've got 3 mana held up because we have 3 untapped artifacts. So I say we go for Gilded Drake here. Yeah, we only need to hold up a single blue mana for Swan Song, so let's go for Gilded Drake. Yeah, I want to take that Chasm Skulker. Oh, and that only costs a single blue mana. I keep forgetting about the Sapphire Medallion. We could transmute something, couldn't we? Yeah, and I'm actually going to Rift here as well. Just to get that Gilded Drake back. Just trying to slow our opponents down as much as we can. Well, there's a Plague Crafter. I think we are ditching our Chasm Skulker here. And the Chasm Skulker will give us some squid tokens when it dies. The intrigued to see if Reyhan puts a lot of plus counters onto the Storev here. No, they just targeted the construct, but I doubt they're going to put plus counters onto it. Yep, they chose not to. And Storev is going in at the partner player. No, they've decided against that. They're going to go in at Horde of Notions instead. Horde of Notions, it looks like this is, well, maybe it's God Tribal. But Horde of Notions can get a lot of damage in really quickly. That haste is absolutely relevant on Horde of Notions. And it can be a really difficult commander to deal with because of the vigilance as well. So Horde of Notions sitting quietly over there isn't necessarily something our opponent should forget about. And they get back the Plague Crafter, thanks to the Storev. This is a new commander from War of the Spark, 5/4 trample. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, return to your hand target creature or planeswalker in your graveyard that wasn't put there, this combat. And it's just combat it worries about, isn't it? Yes, so they do get the Plague Crafter back because it went into the graveyard during the main phase. There's a Law Scale Coatl. That is the other version of, what's it called? The other version of Chasm Skulker. Put a plus counter on it every time you draw a card. I run both of those in Prime Speaker Zagana. Now, just looking at the board, actually, I think we can go infinite next turn. Maybe. Yeah, maybe we can. I think we might be able to go infinite next turn. We've got Spellseeker for Dramatic Reversal. And then we can transmute Artifact to sacrifice something. Probably the Howling Mine. And that will... yeah, that will get us into the Icecrown Scepter. Our opponent just got down a Darksteel Plate, by the way. And thanks to the Howling Mine being untapped, we get to draw an additional card. Whereas our opponents don't. There is one of the stax effects. As long as it's untapped, players can't untap more than 2 permanents during their untapped steps. Let's see here. We can go... yeah, we can tap down the Sapphire Medallion. We'll get down the Spellseeker. Go for Dramatic Reversal. And then we'll get down the Voltaic Key as well, maybe. No, let's just go for Transmute Artifact. We'll get rid of the Sapphire Medallion. We'll get the Icecrown Scepter. That'll come straight into play, and we can imprint a Dramatic Reversal onto that. Then we put a couple of mana into it. And we will cast the Dramatic Reversal from the Icecrown Scepter. And yeah, a couple of opponents have seen what we're doing here. So unfortunately they leave straight away. This is exactly why I don't really like this stacks build, because it's pretty much just playing with yourself. I'll carry on playing it for as long as I can, but this is infinite mana we've got now. infinite blue mana as well. So what we're doing here is going in, yeah, and our opponent sees that. We've got infinite mana there, so all we were doing was tapping down the Howling Mine and the Construct for blue mana from Urza, and then the 2 mana from Mana Crypt. Colourless mana going into Isochron Scepter. We have imprinted onto the Scepter a Dramatic Reversal, which untaps all non-land permanents you control, which includes the Isochron Scepter, so 2 and tap. You get to cast the imprinted copy of the spell that you've put onto the Isochron Scepter. 2 mana from the Mana Crypt into Isochron Scepter. We untap all our non-land permanents, which obviously includes our artifacts, which we can tap down for mana. So we just do that forever, and then we can dump our infinite mana into Urza, Lord High Artificer, and well, we just cast everything for free. It's something that would be much better in paper, also something that's much better in a competitive arena. I think that was a more casual setup that our opponents were going for there, and I would rather not play this really high-powered version of Urza because, like I say, I think it's boring. But if people want to see it, then yeah, you have to let me know in the comments section, and maybe we can get a couple of games going with Urza, Lord High Artificer. But I would rather get my Thopter list on the go because I think it's going to be more fun. So anyway, hopefully some of you enjoyed that Urza, Lord High Artificer deck, and this is why everyone's ranting and raving about this card so much. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.